9-year-old Lily stood frozen in the department store aisle, clutching a small jar of coins in her trembling hands. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at the price tag on the beautiful silver photo frame she had picked out for her mother's birthday. $28. She counted her savings again, $17.35. Not enough. Never enough. The disappointment felt like a physical weight on her small shoulders as she carefully placed the frame back on the shelf. "That's a lovely frame," came a gentle voice from behind her. "Is it for someone special?" Lily turned to find a woman with dark sunglasses and a baseball cap pulled low over her face. Despite the casual disguise, there was something familiar about her warm smile. "It's for my mom's birthday," Lily replied softly, her voice catching. "She works really hard, and I wanted to get her something nice for once. I've been saving my lunch money for 3 months, but..." She held up her jar of coins with a defeated shrug. The woman knelt down beside Lily, bringing herself to eye level. "That's very thoughtful of you. What makes this frame so special?" Lily pointed to the elegant butterfly design etched into the silver. "My mom loves butterflies. She always says they remind her that beautiful things can come from difficult changes." Her small fingers traced the outline of the butterfly. "Just like us. We've had to change a lot since Dad died." Something shifted in the stranger's expression, a flash of genuine emotion that transcended mere sympathy. She removed her sunglasses, and Lily gasped softly. The kind eyes looking back at her belonged to none other than Sandra Bullock, the famous actress her mother adored. "Please don't tell anyone I'm here," Sandra whispered with a conspiratorial smile. "I'm trying to shop in peace. But I'd really like to hear more about your mom. She sounds amazing." For the next 15 minutes, Lily told Sandra everything: how her mother worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads, how she never complained despite the exhaustion etched into her face, how she still managed to help Lily with homework every night. She told her about the upcoming milestone birthday, the first one they'd celebrate without Dad, and how desperately she wanted to make it special. "I just want her to know she's the best mom ever," Lily concluded, wiping away a stray tear. Sandra glanced at the frame, then back at the little girl whose love for her mother was so palpable it filled the space between them. In that moment, something clicked in Sandra's mind, a decision that would change multiple lives. "Lily," she said, her voice filled with quiet determination, "what if I told you we could do something really special for your mom's birthday? Something more than just a frame?" Lily's eyes widened with confusion and the faintest glimmer of hope. She had no idea that this chance encounter in a department store was about to turn into something extraordinary, something that would later be described as unthinkable in its generosity and impact. All she knew was that for the first time in months, the weight on her small shoulders felt just a little bit lighter. Life hadn't always been this hard for Lily and her mother, Rachel. 3 years ago, they were a happy family living in a cozy suburban home. Rachel worked part-time as a nurse, while Lily's father, David, provided the main income as a construction foreman. Their life wasn't luxurious, but it was comfortable and filled with love. Everything changed on a rainy October night when David's truck skidded off the road. The police officer who knocked on their door at 2 a.m. delivered news that shattered their world forever. In an instant, Rachel became both mother and father to an inconsolable 6-year-old, with a mountain of medical bills and funeral expenses that their modest savings couldn't begin to cover. Rachel had no choice but to sell their home and move into a small 2-bedroom apartment in a less desirable part of town. She took on extra nursing shifts and a weekend job at a local diner, working herself to exhaustion just to keep them afloat. The double shifts meant less time with Lily, a sacrifice that pained Rachel deeply but couldn't be avoided. Despite her exhaustion, Rachel never let Lily see her cry. She saved those moments for late nights when her daughter was asleep, shoulders shaking silently as she sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by bills. During the day, she maintained a brave face, telling Lily that they were butterflies in a cocoon, going through a difficult transformation but emerging stronger. This philosophy became their mantra. When the electricity was shut off for 3 days last winter, they pretended they were camping. When Lily's classmates made fun of her thrift store clothes, Rachel taught her that character mattered more than labels. Together, they found small joys in their difficult circumstances: movie nights with borrowed DVDs, picnics in the park, and bedtime stories regardless of how tired Rachel was. Rachel's 40th birthday was approaching, her first big birthday without David. In previous years, he had always planned something special, no matter how tight money was. Last year, just before the accident, he had surprised Rachel with a weekend getaway to the mountains. Lily remembered how her mother's face had lit up with joy, how her parents had slow danced in the kitchen to an old love song. This year, there would be no surprise weekend away. Rachel had even told Lily not to worry about a gift, saying that spending time together was all she wanted. But Lily knew her mother deserved more. The silver butterfly frame was perfect, not just because of the butterfly symbolism, but because Lily wanted to fill it with their favorite photo of all three of them, taken on their last family vacation. That's why meeting Sandra Bullock felt like fate. Lily didn't know exactly what the actress had in mind, but something about Sandra's determined expression gave her hope that maybe, just maybe, her mother would have a birthday worth remembering after all. Here's part 3 of the story, condensed to around 500 words as requested. Sandra listened intently as Lily finished sharing her story, her heart deeply moved by the little girl's devotion to her mother. After a moment of thoughtful silence, she made a decision. "Let's buy that frame," Sandra said, picking it up from the shelf. "But I'd like to do something more, if you'll let me." Lily's eyes widened with confusion. "Like what?" "First, I need to meet your mom," Sandra explained. "Do you think that would be okay?" "I promise I have good intentions." Lily hesitated, then nodded. "She works at Mercy Hospital until 6, then at the Bluebird Diner until 10. Sandra checked her watch. "Perfect. That gives us a few hours to plan. Would you like to get some ice cream and talk about ideas?" At a quiet corner table in the mall's ice cream parlor, Sandra removed her cap and sunglasses. She explained that she was in town filming a movie and had been moved by Lily's story. The actress asked detailed questions about Rachel, her favorite colors, foods, dreams, and struggles. "My mom loves your movies," Lily confided, still stunned to be sharing a chocolate sundae with a Hollywood star. "She says you're real, not fake like some actresses." Sandra laughed. "That's quite a compliment. Now, what if we surprise your mom at the diner tonight?" Later that evening, Rachel was in the middle of her shift at the Bluebird Diner, her feet aching as she delivered plates to a rowdy table of teenagers. When she turned around, she nearly dropped her tray. There, sitting in a corner booth with Lily, was a face she immediately recognized, despite the casual clothes and minimal makeup. "Your daughter and I have been having a lovely chat," Sandra said when Rachel approached, visibly stunned. "Would you join us for a moment?" With her manager's bewildered permission, Rachel slid into the booth, beside her daughter, who was practically bouncing with excitement. "Lily told me about your butterfly philosophy," Sandra said warmly. "About how you've been transforming through difficult times." Rachel's cheeks flushed. "She has quite an imagination sometimes." "She also told me it's your 40th birthday next week," Sandra continued. "I understand you're working both jobs that day?" Rachel nodded, embarrassed. "Bills don't take birthdays off, unfortunately." Sandra leaned forward. "What if they could, just this once? I'd like to help you celebrate properly." At first, Rachel politely refused any assistance, her pride evident. But Sandra was persuasive, explaining that she wanted to do something meaningful with her resources, something beyond traditional charity. "Sometimes," Sandra said, "the universe puts people in each other's paths for a reason. Today, it put your remarkable daughter in mine." By the time Rachel's break ended, the three had formed an unexpected bond. And Sandra had set in motion a plan that would change the trajectory of their lives, a plan far more significant than Lily could have imagined when she'd stood in that store aisle, counting coins for a silver frame. The week leading up to Rachel's birthday was filled with secret phone calls and hushed conversations. Lily became Sandra's co-conspirator, helping coordinate the surprise while maintaining an innocent facade around her mother. Sandra's assistant handled the logistics, making arrangements that would have been impossible for Lily to manage on her own. When Rachel's birthday arrived, she woke early as usual, preparing for another double shift. The small cupcake and handmade card Lily presented her brought tears to her eyes. It was more celebration than she had expected. "I have to go to Mrs. Parker's apartment," Lily announced after breakfast. "She needs help with something." Rachel nodded, assuming their elderly neighbor needed assistance. "I'll be late tonight, honey. Don't wait up." "Actually," Lily said with a mysterious smile, "Mrs. Parker says you need to come too. Just for a minute before work." Puzzled but trusting her daughter, Rachel followed Lily to their neighbor's apartment. The door opened to reveal not Mrs. Parker, but Sandra Bullock, dressed casually and wearing a bright smile. "Happy birthday, Rachel," Sandra said. "Your day off starts now." Rachel's confusion turned to shock as Sandra explained that she had arranged coverage for both Rachel's jobs, for the entire weekend. Before Rachel could protest, Sandra handed her an envelope containing tickets to a nearby spa resort. "This is too much," Rachel stammered. "I can't accept, it's already paid for," Sandra interrupted gently. "And there's something else I'd like to show you." The three made their way back to Rachel and Lily's apartment. When Rachel opened the door, she gasped. The shabby living room had been transformed. Fresh paint brightened the walls, new curtains hung at the windows, and comfortable furniture had replaced their worn hand-me-downs. A small desk stood in the corner, with a new laptop for Lily's schoolwork. "What's happening?" Rachel whispered, overwhelmed. Sandra explained how she'd been touched by Lily's devotion and Rachel's resilience. She described the team of helpers who had worked overnight to refresh the apartment while maintaining its character and warmth. "There's one more thing," Sandra said, leading them to what had been a storage closet. It was now a small home office with nursing reference books and a certificate hanging on the wall. "This is enrollment in an advanced nursing program," Sandra explained. "The director at Mercy Hospital tells me you're one of their most promising nurses. With this certification, you could qualify for a position that would pay enough that you wouldn't need the second job." Rachel's hand trembled as she touched the certificate. "I've dreamed of this, but the tuition is covered," Sandra finished. "Along with childcare for Lily during your classes." Unable to contain her emotions any longer, Rachel sank onto the new sofa, tears flowing freely. Lily climbed into her lap, wiping her mother's cheeks with small fingers. "Are you mad?" Lily asked worriedly. Rachel shook her head, pulling her daughter close. "These are grateful tears, sweetheart. I just don't understand why anyone would do this for us." Sandra sat beside them, her own eyes damp. "Because kindness matters. And because sometimes, butterflies need a little help spreading their wings." 5 years passed since that remarkable birthday. The silver butterfly frame still held the place of honor on Rachel's desk, though now it contained 2 photos, the original family portrait and a newer one of Rachel, Lily, and Sandra at Rachel's nursing certification ceremony. The trajectory of their lives had changed dramatically. Rachel completed the advanced nursing program with honors and secured a position as a nursing supervisor at Mercy Hospital. The role came with better pay and regular hours, allowing her to be home for dinner with Lily every night. She no longer needed the second job at the diner, though she occasionally stopped by to visit her former coworkers who had become like family. For Lily, now 14, the transformation was equally profound. With her mother more present and their financial situation stabilized, she thrived academically. The laptop Sandra had gifted her sparked an interest in technology and medicine, leading her to join a competitive science program at school. Her dream of becoming a doctor no longer seemed impossible. Sandra remained connected to their lives, not as a financial benefactor but as a genuine friend. Despite her busy schedule, she made time for video calls and occasional visits. She never publicized her involvement with their family, insisting that true kindness needed no audience. Perhaps the most beautiful outcome was how Rachel and Lily found ways to help others. They started a support group for single parents and children who had lost loved ones. Rachel volunteered at a free clinic once a month, while Lily tutored younger students struggling with math and science. "Mom," Lily asked one evening as they prepared dinner in their small but comfortable kitchen, "do you ever think about how different things might have been if I hadn't tried to buy that frame?" Rachel smiled, the lines around her eyes now more from laughter than exhaustion. "I think about it all the time. One small action changed everything. Sandra always says it wasn't really about the money." Lily reflected. "She says it was about being seen, that I saw you needed help even when you tried to hide it, and she saw me trying to make a difference." "She's right," Rachel nodded. "The money helped, of course. But what really mattered was breaking through our isolation, remembering we weren't alone in the world." That philosophy became the cornerstone of their lives. When a new single father moved into their building, overwhelmed and grieving, Rachel and Lily were the first to welcome him with home-cooked meals and offers of childcare. When Lily's classmate lost her mother to cancer, Lily created a memory book similar to the one she'd made during her own grief journey. The butterfly effect of Sandra's kindness rippled outward in countless small ways, touching lives beyond what any of them could measure. It wasn't just about the financial boost or the career opportunity, it was about restoring hope and demonstrating that genuine compassion existed in the world. As Rachel often told the families in her support group, sometimes life breaks your heart. But if you keep it open, someone might come along and help put the pieces back together in a way that makes you stronger than before. And on the wall of their living room hung a simple wooden plaque with words that had become their family motto: "Kindness costs nothing but changes everything."